안녕하십니까. 오늘 하팅 코리아 웹 세미나에 참석해 주신 모든 분들께 감사 인사드립니다. 하팅은 그 타겟 마켓을 구분했어요. 머시너리 로보틱스, 그 다음에 공장 자동화, 오토메이션, 그리고 철도, 레일웨이 분야, 그리고 에너지와 전기 자동차 분야로 크게 나눠서 하고 있습니다. 그래서 오늘 이들 마켓에 적용되는 제품군 중에서 이더넷과 PCB에 적용되는 제품을 소개하는 자리입니다. 그래서 하팅 제품군으로는 일렉트릭과 일렉트로닉스, 이렇게 해서 강전과 약전 분야, 그리고 HCS, 하팅 커스터마이즈 솔루션에서 고객이 원하는 사양대로 만드는 커스터마이제이션 제품, 이렇게 세 디비전 중에 오늘 소개하게 될 PCB와 이더넷은 일렉트로닉스에 포함된 제품입니다. 그래서 잠시 저희 직원을 좀 소개하면요. 저희도 머시너리와 로보틱스 공장 자동화 팀장은 김동환 차장이 맡고 있는데 오늘 참석하지 못했고요. 철도 분야의 박태학 전무, 그리고 에너지와 전기차 분야의 장명균 전무, 그리고 특별히 에너지 분야와 또 디지털 세일즈를 담당하는 이승표 부장이 있습니다. 그래서 먼저 본사 제품 책임자들이 발표하기 전에 하팅 코리아에서 신제품으로 적용된 사례 중에 철도 분야와 나머지 마켓의 분야에 간단하게 박태학 전무와 이승표 부장이 국내 사례를 설명하고 본사 제품 책임자분들에게 순서를 넘기도록 하겠습니다. 그럼 먼저 박태학 전무가 철도 분야에 적용된 사례부터 설명하도록 하겠습니다. 감사합니다.
안녕하세요. 레일웨이 시장을 담당하고 있는 박태학입니다. 오늘 소개드릴 적용 사례로는 기존 차량에는 적용되지 않았던 차량 하부의 주요 장비들의 상태를 모니터링하는 제품으로 코레일에서 신규 차량 제작 시 필수 적용 품목으로 지정하여 진행되고 있는 제품입니다. 다원시스의 EMU 150 150량 프로젝트를 시작으로 우진산전의 코레일 490량 프로젝트에도 적용되었으며 향후 코레일 EMU 150 프로젝트에 모두 적용될 것으로 예상되고 있습니다. 먼저 우진산전의 코레일 490량 프로젝트에 적용된 BSM 제품으로 차량 하부의 주요 장비인 대차 보기에 장착되어 있는 트랙션 모터, 드라이빙 기어, 그리고 엑셀 베어링 박스의 회전 속도와 진동 및 온도를 멀티 센서로 통해 모니터링하고 기록하는 장치입니다. BSM에 적용한 하팅 제품으로는 PCB용 핫플렉스콘 3핀, 4핀, 5핀, 그리고 PCB용 핫플렉스 100핀, 케이블 어셈블리 제품인 핫플렉스 100핀, 그리고 파워용으로 M12A 코드 4핀이 사용되었고 이더넷용으로 M12 디코더 4핀을 사용하였습니다. BSM 테스트용 콘솔에는 M12A 코드 5핀이 적용되었습니다. 다음은 BSM의 실제 내부 사진입니다. 먼저 아랫부분의 파워용 3피 핫플렉스콘이며 앞쪽 홀에는 M12A 코드 4핀이 조립될 자리입니다. 이더넷용의 4피 핫플렉스콘이며 앞쪽 홀에는 M12D 코드의 4핀이 조립될 자리입니다. 테스트용 콘솔 5핀 핫플렉스콘이며 앞쪽 홀에는 M12A 코드 5핀이 조립될 자리입니다. 반대편에 멀티 센서로부터 오는 신호 라인 쪽에는 한 HPR PCB 커넥터와 핫플렉스 100핀을 사용하여 별도의 케이블 작업이 없이 조립되도록 심플하게 설계가 되어 있습니다. 이 사진은 차량의 프론트와 리어의 대차 보기에 BSM의 설치 위치와 보조 박스, 각각의 멀티 센서가 위치되는 장치까지의 레이아웃을 설명하는 자료입니다. 먼저 프론트 대차 보기에는 BSM, 보조 박스, 각각의 멀티 센서가 케이블이 각각의 장비로 연결되었습니다. 리어 대차 보기에는 BSM이 없으며 보조 박스와 멀티 센서 케이블이 각 장비로 연결이 됩니다. 실제 차량에 설치된 BSM 사진입니다. 보호 카바 안쪽에 BSM이 설치되어 있으며 보조 박스를 통해서 각각의 장비로 멀티 센서가 장착이 되며 이 사진은 차량의 엑셀 베어링 박스에 멀티 센서가 장착되어 온도와 진동, 회전 속도를 체크의 역할을 합니다. 우측 사진은 차량 언더프레임에 멀티 센서 케이블이 각 장비로 설치된 사진입니다. 다음은 다원시스의 코레일 EMU150 150량에 적용된 제품으로 우진산전의 BSM과 동일한 기능의 제품입니다. 다원시스에서는 DAQ라고 명명을 합니다. 하팅 제품으로는 아래 표의 세크 34P 제품과 M12 원형 커넥터, D서버, DIN 커넥터, 그리고 D20 쉐라우딩이 적용되었습니다. 아래 사진은 현차의 DAQ 박스를 설치한 사진입니다. 한쪽은 차량 센서 쪽으로 연결이 되고 한쪽은 차량 내부에 CBM으로 연결되는 커넥터입니다. 다원시스의 DAQ에 관련된 도면이며 하팅 제품으로는 D서버, DIN 커넥터, D20 쉐라우딩, M20 그리고 반대편에 세크 34핀 제품이 적용되었습니다. 하팅의 주요 제품들은 유튜브를 통해서 잘 소개되어 있습니다. 자료가 필요하시면 유튜브를 활용하여 많은 도움이 되시기를 부탁드립니다. 기타 다른 자료가 필요하신 분은 이메일 또는 전화를 주시면 전달드리도록 하겠습니다. 제 발표는 여기까지입니다. 그럼 계속해서 발표를 이어갈 이승표 부장을 소개해 드리겠습니다. 감사합니다.
안녕하세요. 두 번째 발표를 맡은 하팅코리아 이승표입니다. 하 모듈러는 그 이름 그대로 모듈 형태로 구성된 PCB 커넥터입니다. 하팅에서 준비한 다양한 종류의 모듈들을 나의 필요에 맞게 선택해서 구성할 수 있는 시스템입니다. 국내에 이미 실제 적용된 사례가 있어서 소개를 해드리려고 합니다. LS 일렉트릭의 파워 모니터링 장치입니다. SDDAU라고도 불리는 이 장치는 LS 일렉트릭에서 수출용으로 개발 중에 있는 장치입니다. 화면 좌측 상단에 3D 모형으로 보시는 바와 같이 하 모듈러의 C9 모듈하고 H3 모듈을 피메일은 스트레이트로, 메일은 앵글로 각각 구성을 하였습니다. 복잡하지 않은 단순한 조합이지만 이렇게 나에게 필요한 나만의 구성을 할 수 있게끔 하는 하 모듈러는 공간적, 비용적으로 절약을 만들어낼 수가 있습니다. 기존에 사용하던 DIN 커넥터는 기존재하는 DIN 커넥터의 구성에 맞게 내 장비를 설계를 해야 했지만 이제 그 하 모듈러를 사용해서 내 설계에 맞는 커넥터를 만들 수가 있는 것이고 이 점이 이번 애플리케이션에 가장 크게 고객사에 어필한 부분입니다. 하팅 홈페이지에는 다양한 그 컨피규레이터, 즉 구성기를 제공을 하는데요. 하 모듈러 구성기도 이 하팅 홈페이지에서 쉽게 찾아보실 수 있습니다. 이 컨피규레이터를 사용하면 여러분들도 쉽고 간단하게 나만의 커넥터를 구성을 할 수가 있습니다. 뿐만 아니라 그렇게 구성한 내 조합의 커넥터를 한 번에 2D, 3D 자료를 다운받을 수가 있고 또는 그와 반대로 카탈로그를 통해서 파트 넘버를 찾아서 파트 번호 리스트를 먼저 만든 경우에는 그 번호들을 거꾸로 컨피규레이터에 입력을 해서 구성기로 불러올 수가 있습니다. 이렇게 만들어진 조합의 커넥터는 원스톱으로 주문까지 가능합니다. 다음 RJ45 패치 케이블에 대해서 말씀을 드리겠습니다. 핵심적인 사항으로는 사진에서 보시는 바와 같이 커넥터 부분이 원하는 방향으로 돌아가는 버전의 제품입니다. 잘 아시는 바와 같이 패치 케이블의 경우는 대부분 적용 상황에서 곡률 반경, 즉 밴딩 레디우스가 중요한 고려사항 중에 하나입니다. 특히 케이블의 연성, 피복의 재질에 따라서 달라지고 무엇보다 연결 구간의 거리가 멀고 가까움에 따라서 패치 케이블의 사용이 가능한지 아니면 불가능한지를 반드시 확인을 해야 합니다. 반도체 제조 설비의 경우 기술 집약적인 장치인데다가 오작동이 절대로 생기면 안 되는 경우이기 때문에 패치 케이블 하나에도 신경을 써야 합니다. 이렇게 설치에 유리한 방향으로 커넥터가 휘어질 수 있다는 그 부분 하나만으로도 좁은 공간에서의 작업이 크게 쉬워지고 설치 후에도 오작동의 우려가 없어지게 됩니다. 커넥터의 방향은 제품에서 미리 정해진 것이 아니고요. 보시는 바와 같이 커넥터의 끝부분에 관절이 들어가 있기 때문에 단순히 관절을 돌리는 작업만으로도 지금 내가 필요한 방향으로 돌려서 사용을 할 수 있게 됩니다. 하팅은 이 관절 부위를 베리어 부츠라고 부르는데 이 베리어 부츠 부위는 최대 90도까지 움직이고 심지어 축 방향으로 회전까지 가능합니다. 이러한 작업은 현장에서 별도의 공구가 필요한 게 아니고 작업자가 손으로 간단하게 조절이 가능합니다.
Hello and welcome here from the headquarter Harting in Germany. My name is Rainer Hüske and I'm responsible for board connectors in the global product management and I'm the head of a small team of product managers all dealing with board connectors.
Yeah, welcome also from my side. So my name is Joachim Finke. I am the counterpart of Rainer, so in the product management, head of product management, but for mainly Ethernet connectivity. So I'm very happy to be here, Rainer as well, and we would now like to start with the PCB solutions.
Yeah, thank you. Again, I have the pleasure now to show you all our connector solutions which are going on-site the PCB. And I split the presentation in 3 parts. I would like to start with the first item. This is all our established PCB solutions which are more than 15 years already in the market, like DIN connectors or what you see here on the picture, the sub-connectors and also M12, always the PCB side. And the main focus I would to put on new trends. What is the new trends in PCB design? These connectors and devices become smaller and smaller. And here you see an example of half-flex, where we have a wide range of different product lines. And this is in a small grid, means saving space on the PCB side. And then the first or the third part is the mega trend, what we are seeing, modularization. And our latest product is here, Modular, a very unique and nice new development regarding modular and customized solution. So starting first with established solution, if you're talking about PCB solutions, what is important? You can have different combination of PCBs. In the first step here, backplane to daughter cards. This is a rectangular connection of different PCBs. Then for sure, all these mezzanine solutions, so parallel PCB connections, and as well extender card versions, which can be used for testing or making also your system devices modular. And at the end, one part of cable or wire to board, where we are just talking about the board connectors, but at the end, these are interface connectors and going outside the device in that direction. And for all these applications, we are offering solutions already for more than 15 years in the market. And here you see just a few product lines where we are talking about, which is established in the market already a long time and proven, and a lot of customers and industrial designers are using these versions, starting with DIN connectors, where we have a really wide product range. Overall, all these product lines, what you are seeing here, are more than 10,000 articles, and these are just hearting names like Habas HM, that's a 2 millimeter version. Flex, I will tell you a little bit more later on more about that. And for sure, Flex is fitting for mezzanine, but also SEK, for instance, you can use as mezzanine solution as well. Also extender version. And then we have a wide range of different product lines regarding cable and wire to board, starting with the sub, the main part here, really a big portfolio we could offer here. And industrial Ethernet with RJ Industrial. Joachim Finke will tell you later on a little bit more about that. And circular connectors, different sizes and codings, A and D coding, and M12, M8, M17 is available. And as well, wire-to-board solutions, Flexicon, where you can put directly a wire to the board. So just from the technical point of view, saying, okay, what we could offer and what we have in our range so far as a standard solution, again, for several years, starting with contact spacing with 10.16, then going to the DIN connector, 2.54, 2 millimeter, and Flex is in a grid of 1.27, and there we are offering also version with 0.8 millimeter. So really, space saving on the PCB side. All the grids, what you see here, are available. From pin counts, it's really nearly unlimited. So starting with 2 pin counts, 3 pins, 4 pins, 5, 6, and up to 308 pins we could offer. That's the maximum actually we are having in our range, more than 300 pins in one connector. The number of rows, the same, so starting with 2 rows, 3 rows, and up to 10 rows we are offering. Regarding technical aspect for the current, for sure, all for the signals, small in milliamp range, and this is then going up to 6 amp, 10 amp, 20 amp, or even 40 amp, going directly on the PCB in a connector. From data rates, so we are very strong in all these signal areas, but nevertheless, we are offering also 5 gigabit, 10, 16, and 25 gigabit solutions for PCB connectors. And regarding bus system, which is globally well known, are the CAN bus, Profibus, Profinet, for the railway, the MBB bus, Ethernet, USB 2.0. Is available from Harting side. And regarding voltage, again, the small voltage, 24 volt, 48, and up to 690 volt is available. And this is already established for a long time in the Harting range. Now coming to new trends, what we are seeing. So the devices and connectors become smaller and smaller. And for years, we developed here the Flex range. This is a very small connector, very flexible, and nevertheless very robust solution. So you can here see the flexibility is first of all in the different connection. So all possible connections of PCBs are given with rectangular mother to daughter card, extender card, mezzanine, of course, but also with the flat cable connection, you can be very flexible, connect different PCBs. And it's very flexible in the different heights between mezzanine PCB boards, where you have this as sandwich, so starting from 8 millimeter distance up to 20 millimeter in certain steps, but all these distance could be solved with Flex. Therefore, very flexible, and this is unique. We are very flexible in the pin counts. You can do all even position from 6 to 100. So 6, 8, 10, 12 pin counts are available. And this is a big advantage from your side, using just the pin counts you would need on the PCB side. Regarding robustness, we try right at the beginning to make this small connector very robust, that you can use this in a harsh environment. with vibration and robust handling in the industrial field. So one thing is we prevent mismating. It's not possible to mate the connector in a wrong way, and therefore we're having a polarization which is very stable and strong, and which is also unique and special on the market. We are having not only SMT hold downs, we are also offering through-hole reflow process hold downs, which make the connector even robust and more proven for vibration and the forces you have during mating. You see on the left side there one picture of that, of this hold down. And for sure, this is normal. This is for pick and place and automatic processing. We are delivering this connector range in tape and reels. With a vacuum nozzle, you can put the connector automatically on the PCB side, so very time-saving and automatic processing are possible with that. Yeah, for sure, for all industrial applications, so mainly in the automation field, these connectors are used already for 4 years. For small devices, due to the very robustness we are offering, customers in this field really appreciate that and looking forward for a small connector with flexible pin counts on their devices. And here are just a few examples of different applications, customer using this on these PCBs or on these devices. Then coming more to some latest development in this range of half-flex signal, we now also created a half-flex power version. Means that you can combine in the same form factor power connector and signal connector on one PCB. And these power connectors stands mainly for the current. For this small connector, one pin can carry more than 18 amp per power contact, depending a little bit on the loading. And here you see just one example on the left side of the PCB. There are 4 pins with these power contacts 18 amp. And we are offering here for the power version 2 pins, 3 pins, 4, 5, 6, and 12 pins. And again, this can be easily combined with all these signal half-flex versions from 6 to 100 pins in one step. With that, you can separate different lines, the power lines and the signal lines. It's very robust. Also for the power version, we're having these through-hole reflow features and easy to combine with the same form factor. In the same way, we put all these power contacts and signal contacts together in a hybrid version. And here you see the combination of 4 power contacts and 16 signal contacts. Then you're only having one connector. And we separate on the left and right side of the connector the power lines so that the signal contacts are always in the middle. This is saving space on the PCB side for signal contacts as well. Save time. You only have to deal and handle one connector instead of 2. And of course, this at the end saving money also there. You can assemble this in a shorter time. And we have a great variety of different hybrid pole counts. So 2 power contacts, 8 signal, or 8 power with 36 signals. So in principle, there's everything possible, but these are the versions we're having available today. The next step is then, now we're having signal and power. We developed half-flex high-density card edge. First of all, this is a version in a smaller grid, 0.8 millimeter, but for high data rates. And these data rates are going up to 25 gigabits per second. This is a card edge solution, so you put in the PCB directly in the connector. And with this, we are offering here pin counts in a step of 20, from 20 to 140 pins. Again, the hold downs for the industrial fields, very robust with a through-hole reflow process. And you can realize, you see this on the left corner, also mezzanine solution. You just put in between a small PCB, and then you can have unlimited PCB distance as mezzanine solution as well. So everything available, signal, power, hybrid, and data version for this half-flex range, very small, flexible, and fits for the most applications in the industrial field. Now coming to the latest trend, what we are seeing are modularization. Yeah? So modular, that's a modular board-to-board connector for motherboard to daughter card solutions and as well for mezzanine solutions. It is robust as DIN 41612 connectors because it's having the same form factor and we are using the same contacts as we used already for 50 years with the DIN range. And with that, the customer or you can create your own connector with data, signal, and power in one connector. And it's quick and easy available for these customized solutions. That's the main benefit, especially in today's situation. And we will assemble this for you without any extra cost. That's already the overview. What we are talking about, we're having different modules, so small versions of, let me say, of a DIN connectors, and this can be easily put together with a fixing rail, and then you're having a hybrid solution, again with signal, data, power, in one connector according to your application or your demand. And so far we could solve applications, daughter card to backplane and mezzanine solutions. Here are just a few examples of different modules. We are having a wide range of different modules already, starting with 2 amp modules with 9 pins, 6 amp with 4 pins, power contacts with 3 contacts and 15 amp, and also special version where you can use special contacts, and you can use all the existing contacts from the DIN range there in this module. So starting again with high current contact up to 40 amp, but also high voltage contacts, 2.8 kilovolt. Coaxial contacts you can use, normally 50 ohm impedance, and also optical contacts can be used in this connector. And you see here, there's no limit regarding how you can create this, your own connector. So there's no limitation where you put the modules and how big you are making this. Here's one example just with 2 modules on the left side. And here you see another example with more than 15 modules in one connector, different versions, different parts there. So now, which it's a big advantage, you can choose out of 1 billion combinations, so 1 billion possibilities to combine these different modules. And of course, this is then now a difficulty to find the right solution. And here we are offering several possibilities. You can just use traditional catalog where you can choose the right modules. We are offering a development kit, R&D kit, where you have all these modules in one box and can play around and creating your connector already right away. For sure, in the e-catalog, there are filter functions like the current, pole numbers, performance level, and so on. And you can find with the e-catalog just the right connector. But the most important thing is, we are offering an online configurator. So you can easily, just with a mouse click, create your connector, choose different modules with filter function. You will get then automatically all these ECAD data, the drawing, 3D files, technical information for your chosen unique connector in one way. So all these data are available right away on the online configurator, and then you can just order this sample or the connector you have chosen in the online configurator. Very easy and quick done. So please try that. And that's already my last slide. Thank you very much. And I will hand over now to Joachim.
Many thanks, Rainer. So I think it was very interesting to see which innovations we have for board-to-board or PCB connectivity. And we are now switching our attention and coming from inside the device more to outside of the device. So we all know that due to the Industry 4.0, the IIoT, there is a trend that the OT world is melting with the IT world. And due to this trend, the Ethernet protocol and the Ethernet communication is now more overlapping into the industrial applications, to sensors, to actuators, and all that different things. So means the industry needs robust, strong, reliable Ethernet connectors, which are really suited for industrial applications. And exactly this is the field, the special field of Harting, where we are very experienced in since many years, and I would say also very strong. So we as Harting try to cover all solutions for our customers, from PCB device connectivity, from IP20 cable connectors for self-assembly and cable assemblies, also cable connectors and cable assemblies for IP65 applications, for example, to connect sensors. We provide panel feed-throughs to connect the IP20 world to the IP65 world. And we as Harting also provide Ethernet switches for industrial applications. So what is our strategy behind? We have three parts, I would say, similar to the board-to-board area. The first one is the established Ethernet solutions. So means those are solutions for connectivity, which is established since a couple of years. For example, RJ45, M8 decoded, M12 D and X coded, so all the typical Ethernet interfaces used in the industry. We have connectors, we have cable assemblies for this in many different lengths and configurations. We offer, as I mentioned, Ethernet switches, and especially for our very famous H-modular industrial connector range, we also have certain inserts for Ethernet connectivity. Yeah, so really Harting is a full range supplier here. But of course, the connectivity develops further together with those applications, and devices get smaller, and by this also the connectors must be smaller. So here we have our new connector family iX Industrial, which is a new connector which we have standardized 5 to 6 years ago, and which is now coming to integrate really into industrial applications. And now, last but not least, the next trend, so the third one, is really, it is not just a connectivity issue, it is really a technology issue. So we all know that for Ethernet we have today two possibilities. We have the fast Ethernet and we have the gigabit Ethernet. You need to have two, respectively, 4 pairs of copper wires for this. And single pair Ethernet now is a new physical layer for Ethernet, where you can do just with one single twisted pair in Ethernet communication. And this is very interesting, especially for to connect on cable end devices like sensors or actuators in the field in a very cost-efficient and also very sustainable way to the Ethernet network. So, what are we going to focus by today? We will have a look on RJ45. Yeah, even if this is an established interface, there are new innovations for this. For example, different termination techniques, different ways to do the assembly also in the field. Yeah, and there we have the RJ45 multi-feature, which I will explain later on. We will have a big focus here on, as I mentioned, the iX industrial interface, a new interface for Ethernet. And the technology-driven topic, single pair Ethernet, will be the end of this presentation. Okay, so let's start now with the RJ45 multi-feature series. It is, as I mentioned, you can say a standard RJ45 plug. But there are special things behind. So Harting was one of the first companies around the year 2000, 2003 who identified that the RJ45 interface, which we can say is a telecom connector, which found its way into the industry. And Harting was one of the first companies identifying that we need to adjust the RJ45 connector in a way that it's even more suited for industrial applications. Even if it's a telecom connector, we can do certain things to make it more robust, reliable, and so on. So this was our first milestone approximately 20 years ago. Afterwards, we thought about the cabling itself. Yeah, so if you need to change cables in the field to replace connectors, maybe to upgrade even complete networks, it is always very difficult to assemble the RJ45 connector. And for this, we have introduced our pre-link system some years later after the RJ45 industrial. And now we are coming to the next milestone. Yeah, a fully toolless, a connector which can be assembled fully toolless without any tools at all, in a very safe, fast, and suited way for workers inside the field. So here is the connector. What is special for this connector? First of all, it is a very robust connector. Yeah, so we really have a fully metal shielded housing. Means the connector is really suited for industrial applications. As I mentioned, the special thing is for this connector, you do not need to use any tools at all. If you are in the machine, at the machine, you want to install something and you need to assemble the plug to the cable. Second thing, and the third thing, it is really a high performance and future-proof solution because this connector supports Cat6a data transmission and data rates for even up to 10 gigabit. Of course, also all classes for power over Ethernet are supported by this connector. So let us have a look on the toolless assembly. How do we realize this? So you can see this on the left bottom and right bottom picture. The connection of the cable to the connector is IDC, so insulation displacement connection. This is, I would say, standard. But what is special is that besides the IDCs, we have on the right-hand side, on the left-hand side, so-called knives. Knives, which if you put the cable inside the connector, and if you afterwards close the top of the connector, then those knives directly cut the cable to the correct length, and the worker can easily, with his hands on the right and on the left-hand side of the connector, simply remove the overlapping cable. So really a very, very, I would say, innovative solution. You can do, I would say, nearly nothing wrong. And as I mentioned, it's fast and process safe. We have done some tests, and compared to RJ45, the assembly time will be reduced by at least 25%. What is also special for this connector family, if this connector is tailored for to be installed in the field to replace, for example, connectors and so on, the worker, of course, does not know in before, do I need an angled one to the right-hand side cable outlet, to the left-hand side, to the bottom? Do I need a straight connector? And to make the life easier of the installers, we have realized, I would say, a modular cable outlet, as you can see here on the screen. Yeah, so means we have the basic part of the plug and we have the cable side, and the worker in the field is fully free if you would like to assemble the connector to the right, to the left, to the top, to the bottom. This is fully up to the worker, and he could choose the one based on the situation which he is actually facing in the field. So really highest flexibility during installation. Okay, so this was one example for, I would say, a step how Harting improves our connectors for established interfaces. We are now coming to the very important new interface for Ethernet, iX Industrial. So designers, when they use the RJ45 in their industrial applications, which all companies do so, even the biggest companies do so, they, after 25 or 30 years since this connector is available, of course also think, okay, is the size of the connector really still state of the art? Is the robustness of this telecom driven connector really state of the art for my maybe control unit, which needs to withstand vibration, for example, inside railways, or in machines? Designers always thought, oh, it is not the perfect solution. But at the end of the day, every company is using the RJ45 connector. If a failure appears in the field, typically a worker, there will be a service action, and at the end of the day, nobody could really now identify what was the reason, because there was any RJ45 jack used on the device, and the customer maybe used any cable assembly with a cable plug he just got from any country and supplier, and in this special situation, the connection failed. Yeah. And to avoid this, Harting has standardized the new connector. It's called iX Industrial, which is tailored right from the beginning for industrial applications. Means the contact area, the PCB fixing, everything is really designed for industrial and robust application. Secondly, we tried to do the connector as small as possible. And here on the screen, you can see the comparison of an RJ45 connector to an iX Industrial connector. So it's really a very space-saving connector, state-of-the-art for miniaturized devices. Third one is high performance. So also here, ready for 10 gigabit Ethernet. And last but not least, very, very important, because for Ethernet connectivity, devices from different suppliers have to be connected, and their standards, clear standards, are mandatory. And this is why this connector as well is also standardized according to the IEC. Yeah, furthermore, there is not just the IEC or the IEEE, we also have the different, I would say the different automation protocols and user groups, for example, Profinet, or in Asia, CC-Link, or the ODVA, and many different. And of course, we are now establishing or try to establish this interface also at those user groups. And to mention just one example, this connector is since 1 year now, since 1 year and even in 2 months. It is an official Profinet conform device connector. So all companies doing Profinet devices are allowed to use this connector. There are further standards like the GIG-E for camera vision applications, and we work to bring this connector also in other applications. Yeah, just a short view on the product portfolio. We can see here that, of course, on the PCB side, like from my colleague Rainer Hüske for board-to-board, customers need highest flexibility, means they need to have different, different types, from angled vertical ones to vertical PCB connectors to angled horizontal one. So all the things customer need based on their situation on their device. As I mentioned, so we as Harting, we do not only do connectivity, we also provide our own Ethernet switches. And to show how this interface can really miniaturize devices, we have designed in this interface iX Industrial in our switch. You can see there on the right-hand side. So as you can see, we have a very high packaging density, by using 8 iX PCB connectors on a very, very small room. So this really shows that the connector really supports miniaturization and high density. The next step would be that during the second half of this year, we try to make this product interface ready for IP65 applications. Why for IP65 applications? We can say, okay, there are solutions like M12 Xcoded, for example. That's correct. But sometimes there are applications where customers, for example, prefer a rectangular interface, or maybe a very lightweight interface, or a more cheap interface compared to, or even a more easy to assemble interface. And this is why we, during the next half of this calendar year, introduce the iX interface integrated into a mini push-pull housing, where you have a very, very safe and quick locking technology, push and pull, which really supports your applications. Okay, so this with regards to the iX Industrial interface. We are now coming, as I mentioned, to the next one. This is more a technology-driven topic by today. Even, of course, if Harting provides connectivity, I would like to explain also some more things about the technology. Single pair Ethernet. Where does it come from? So single pair Ethernet has its origin in the broader reach technology coming from the automotive market. Why? Because all the big car manufacturers globally, they know that with the trend to autonomous driving and further things in the future, there will be even more sensors and devices used inside cars, cameras and other things. And the data rates, they will not become smaller. They will further increase and increase and increase during the next couple of years. So the Ethernet communication is really a very smart thing to build networks also in cars. The tricky thing is that with the existing technologies, so fast Ethernet and gigabit Ethernet, the cabling, you need at least four wires or even 8 wires. And you can imagine that inside cars, the weight is very, very important. And with those cabling, it is not possible really to realize light-wired cars during the next couple of years. This is why they introduced, with all their power and their quantity and the broader reach technology, this, let's call it two-wire Ethernet. So single-pair Ethernet. And it is, as I mentioned, in simple words, just the Ethernet transmission by two wires, by just one single twisted pair. You can see a comparison here. On the right-hand side, the cabling for single-pair Ethernet. On the left-hand side, the cabling for a gigabit Ethernet cabling. So really a huge saving of space, of costs, and you are more sustainable. And by the way, so the view on the right-hand side, you can see it is sized up. Yeah, so it's sized up in order to identify the two wires. In fact, those two wires have the same size. You can see for each different wire here for the gigabit Ethernet copper cabling. There are different standards at the market from 10 Mbit to 100 Mbit to 1 gigabit to even 10 gigabit in the future for single pair Ethernet, but I think I don't want to focus on this right now. What is the big advantage? Most I have already explained. Another one is the reach. Yeah, so typically for copper-based Ethernet communication, you are limited to 100 meters. But as we all know, for example, inside railways, inside windmills, inside maybe process automation and other things, there are applications where you need to go above those 100 meters. Today, you need to switch to fiber optic. You need to switch to, for example, wireless technologies, which have their certain disadvantages. And now with single pair Ethernet, it will be possible, for example, for 10 Mbit to go copper-based cabling Ethernet communication for up to 1 kilometer, 1,000 meter. This is really a big step forward. There are further things like the weight will be reduced. Yeah, if we think about railways, there are kilometers of Ethernet cabling, network cabling inside. And if you can imagine, you can reduce those to just one single twisted pair. Train manufacturers really save a lot of weight. And there are further things. For example, for robotics, yeah, the cable is much more flexible. The bending radius much more easy and bigger. And so means there are different advantages for different applications. We as Harting, of course, we said, okay, if this technology will migrate from the automotive market to the industrial market, and this for sure will take place, like it take place for the CAN bus, for example, which was introduced in the 1980s and afterwards went to the automotive market. We as Harting need to make sure there is a proper connectivity solution for our customers to be used in industrial applications. And as we know, standards are very important for standard Ethernet, but also for single pair Ethernet. This is why we have chosen to follow the connector standard 63171-6. Why did we do so? Because this connector standard, it is referenced in the IEEE for single pair Ethernet as an interface. It is referenced by the cabling standards of the ISO IEC and TIA. And this is very important, yeah, because those standards, they today define the rules for standard Ethernet, which connector to use. And they also will define for single pair Ethernet, which connector to use. And this -6 connector standard is established there. Yeah, we realize connector styles for each application. You can see on the bottom right-hand side, we started with the IP20 connectors, PCB side cable assemblies, self-assembled cable connectors. Even more than 1 year ago, this connector is available, fully available at the market. Then we introduced the M12 connector for single pair Ethernet. It was March of this year, also serious products available at the market. And in the second half of this year, we will introduce M8 hybrid as well, so for power and single pair Ethernet, as well as M8 standard connectors. As I mentioned, completely designed, tailored for shock and vibration and for high performance data rates from 10 Mbit up to 10 gigabit. By the way, this is a very special feature for this connector standard here. So you do not need to switch. For example, if you go beyond 1 gigabit to a different interface, no, this connector interface from -6 and our connectors are tailored for up to 10 gigabit. Yeah, so it's a future-proofed solution. And in the future, there will also be hybrid connectors, M12 hybrid connectors for a little bit more power, as well as single pair Ethernet data communication to give more flexibility for the automation devices. Okay, so this was the basic outline of my presentation. Thank you very much. And now I would like to hand over once again to my Korean colleagues to check if there are certain questions maybe raised during the webinar.
네, 다시 한국입니다. 지금부터는 Q&A 시간을 갖도록 하겠습니다. Hating Headquarter, it's time to move on to the Q&A time. Okay, we have some incoming questions, but the time is a little bit strict, so I would like to select some questions and ask to you forward those questions to UGBU. Regarding the first question, 첫 번째 질문으로 IX 인더스트리얼 관련해서 질문이 접수가 됐는데 IX 인더스트리얼이 기존의 RJ45 커넥터, RJ45 커넥터보다 그 스페이스 세이빙, 그 공간 절약이 얼마나 좀 효율적으로 되는지에 대해서 좀 자세히 알고 싶다라는 질문이 있었습니다. Joachim, so how much of space saving can be reached with the IX connector compared to our RJ45?
Yeah, very good question, because I said it's smaller, but how much smaller? So a quick and pragmatic answer, it is 70%. So on the PCB, if you design a device and you would like to make many RJ45 connectors on the board, you have a space saving of 70% to IX Industrial.
Thank you. 그리고 다음 질문으로 마찬가지로 이제 IX 커넥터가 그 POE가 되는지에 대한 문의 사항이 있습니다. Joachim, so the IX Industrial, is this connector already ready for the POE application? That is the second question.
Yes, it is for sure. It's needed because especially camera applications based on Ethernet, they need PoE and PoE+. And this is why this connector, the IX Industrial, supports all different classes of power over Ethernet, yes.
Okay, thank you. 그리고 그 SP에 대해서 질문 한 가지가 또 있는데요. SP에 대해서 이 싱글페어 이더넷이 지금 현재 사용 가능한 칩셋이 마켓에 이미 있는지에 대해서 문의가 있습니다. 그걸 마찬가지로 요아킴 씨에게 질문을 해보겠습니다. Joachim, regarding the SP Industrial, are there already chipsets available in the market for so-called single-pair Ethernet?
Yeah, there are chipsets. Very important questions, because this I forgot to present. It's not just a connector issue. You need chipsets tailored for single-pair Ethernet, also magnetics tailored for single-pair Ethernet. So very good question. And yes, there are companies like Analog Devices, Texas Instruments, and many more companies who have already serious available chipsets at the market, which can be bought. Yes.
Okay. Okay, thank you. And we have a question from our live chatting box. I would like to ask forward this question to you, Mr. Rainer Yusuke. 일단 본사에 문의할 질문을 모든 분들에게 다시 한번 말씀을 드릴게요. 하 모듈러 제품에 대해서 제품의 장점을 충분히 이해했습니다. 설계하나 적용 단계에서 도움을 줄 수 있는 R&D 키트의 보급은 어떻게 이루어지나요? 라는 질문을 채팅박스로 해주셨습니다. 질문에 감사드리고요. 질문을 GBU 저희 하팅 본사에 전달을 해보겠습니다. Mr. Rainer, once again, let me forward this question to you regarding the Ha modular. How can a R&D kit that can be very helpful for our customers' development phase be delivered to customer side?
So we set up this as a normal article. So this can be just ordered via system, or the customer can contact you, the sales organization. There's a part number set up, and then with this one part number you will get the complete set of this R&D kit, where different modules inside and yeah. So it's audible and available. It's just a question, let the sales organization know that you need this R&D kit with part number, which you can find also in the e-catalog if you want to order this online.
All right, thank you. And I think this would be our last question to you, Mr. Reiner. 예, 오늘 질문 Q&A 세션에서 이제 마지막 질문으로 한 가지 더 본사에 질문해 보겠습니다. 질문 내용은 그 하 모듈러 제품이 기존 그 표준 제품이죠. DIN 41612 제품하고 상호 호환이 되는지에 대해서 저희 하팀 본사에 문의를 해보도록 하겠습니다. 라이너, is our HA modular making compatible with the standard existing DIN 41612 products?
Also a good question. It is based on the same form factor and the same contacts are used. So it's everything, it's a proven design and a proven system, but you cannot make DIN connectors, DIN 41612 connectors to HA modular. Yeah, so you can only make HA modular connector male to the HA modular female connector, but it's the same principle, but not mateable.
Yes, yes, thank you. 네, 예, 이것으로 오늘 Q&A 세션을 마치겠습니다. 추가적으로 문의하신 부분이나 아니면 채팅박스로 문의를 주신 질문들에 대해서는 저희가 차분히 이메일이나 아니면 별도의 연락을 통해서 추가적으로 답변을 드릴 것을 약속드리겠습니다. Thank you, 하팅 TV. I think this is it. So, 네, 저희가 준비한 내용은 여기까지입니다. 지금까지 하팅 코리아 All for PCB, All for 이더넷 웹 세미나에 참석해 주신 모든 여러분 감사합니다. 추가적인 문의 사항은 언제든지 저희에게 문의 주시면 성실히 답변 드리겠습니다. 감사합니다.
Thank you, GBU and customers and distributors 참석한 모든 분께 감사드리고요. 특히 오늘 통역해 주신 알버트 씨에게 아주 너무 설명 잘해 주셔서 감사드립니다. 예, 모두 감사합니다.